Uh-oh, what's going on? What's going on to all my embracers? How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
We ready. Good. We are ready. So let me introduce myself to all my new embracers. My name is Grace from Embrace the Grace. And for all of you who have been embracing me since day one, A1, I really appreciate it and thank you for it. But to all my new embracers, this is a different type of challenge. Over here, we have the difficult, uncomfortable, and messy conversations because they're necessary. We're not here to judge because we're not professional therapists. We're not certified psychologists. Some of us are certified life coaches, but we go on off of experience, other people's experience. And on this show, I just don't come up here and talk my shit and my guests. I actually give information, statistics, and we talk about it and we get to the nitty gritty. So please, no sign language, no shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. We can respectfully agree to disagree. So with that being said, let me go ahead and go around the board. Smitty, my A1 from day one. How you doing, King? Okay, no problem. I'll go ahead and Uncle Ricky, I got to tell you that you're the one that inspired me for this show. A lot of times I get my topics through conversation, through content creators, people email me things. But when you talked and said last Monday, marriage humbles you, that struck a chord to me. Because I remember when there were times that I could have been humble in my marriage and I didn't. But that all comes through counseling and growing. Right. You know, so that I said, the light bulb went on. I said, we got to talk about that because a lot of women don't know about humbleness in a marriage. And Uncle Rick and the Wife School podcast, I know you're new here, but this channel, I am an advocate for men, especially Black men. I have a Black son. So a lot of the things that we talk about, he is going to endure.
Right.
So my objective on this channel is turn the mirror on women and show them that many, they talk around and say men ain't shit. There ain't no good men out there. But a lot of the decisions and choices that we made in our lives is because of us, not because of men. And we have to learn to take accountability.
Right.
And that's my objective here. I'm not liked a lot, and that's okay. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to hopefully touch somebody, change their mindset, and do better and become better versions of themselves. So with that being said, Uncle Rick, so this show I have to dedicate it to you because you're the one that gave me this topic, and and I needed you to be here because you had to present the idea.
Right.
So go ahead and tell people who you are, where we can find you, and then we'll go around the board and we'll get into it.
I got you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. White School, what's up, sis?
Hey,
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me up. My name is Ricky. Uncle Ricky is what they call me. But my real name is Ricky Williams. I'm here on YouTube under Ricky Williams #TWT, on Instagram under RDubs_DUBBZ. I'm just an average guy who learned my lessons the hard way, you know. Got to a point where I figured it out. I didn't have no help. I didn't have no leg up. I figured it out. I'm just a man who loved my family, loved my kids, and loved my woman. That's it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know that's right. The Why School Podcast. Welcome, my dear. I'm so honored to have you up here. I want more women to come up here, but I know that it's hard because you already know the position that I stand, and it's hard, but that's okay. Slowly but surely. I'm only 45 more subscribers away from 500, so I can start getting monetized. So let's get it. Let's get it. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. So tell us where we can find you and what you're about, since my embracers can embrace you as well.
All right. Hello, embracers. Hello, panel. My name is Stephanie Thompson, and I started the Wife School Podcast mainly because I did some things and I wasn't humble, and there's things that I didn't do in my marriage where it kind of went awry, and I had to sit back and take accountability. So I was like, well, what did I do? What did I contribute to everything going? And it didn't work out in the end, but I still think that I learned some things. I took accountability of some things, and that we as women have a lot of work to do. And as far as a lot of us proclaiming that there's no good men, that there's no leaders, first we have to take the back seat and allow the men to lead and not micromanage the whole situation. So I'm just encouraging women to be more feminine, and I'm an advocate for femininity and also advocate what you're doing for men, because if we don't embrace them, if we don't put them where they need to be, how can they lead us? So I love what you're doing. I always chime in, and I'm on IG at the Wife School Podcast, and on YouTube. I'm building that too. So I'm just inspired by you guys tonight, and accountability is where it all starts.
Thank you so much, and again, thank you for coming. Smitty, are you ready? You got your Kool-Aid? You good?
There we go. All right, now we respect to everybody. Brother Ricky, man, salute to you. I was loving what you were saying.
You sound far away.
Am I far? Does it sound far?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
It sounds far away. We need more volume.
Let me see. Can you hear me better? Can you hear me?
No, not as good as I'm used to.
Hold on.
Okay. So while he's getting his shit together, we're gonna go ahead and we'll just get started. And what I always usually do is that I ask the panel about what the subject is to you, and give me an example or time where you recognize that you could have been more humble. So what is humbleness to you, Uncle Ricky? And tell me about a time where you could have been more humble, but you weren't, but now you know better.
To me, humble is just being smart enough to know you don't know everything. You know what I mean? Understand that you can learn something from everybody, and sometimes it's not always the good time to say something. Right? God gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason, so you can listen twice as much as you talk. Right? In a relationship, how that relates, Um, a lot of times when you think about it, at least again, I speak from personal experience, my experience and things I observed. Right, from my personal experience, a lot of times when you get into either a heated debate or a disagreement, it's usually because you in your ego and you not willing to listen to the other party. Right. Um, so my biggest experience was it was a personal issue me and my woman was going through. Right. And, I was in all the times before this, it was the same thing, right? Ego, ego, ego. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I'm the man. Blah 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 blah. Right. And I just sat there and I looked at her and I honestly listened, right? And even though I felt the way, even though I felt, that my point was valid, by listening and understanding and asking her the question, and I say this all the time, right? Help me understand what you're talking about, right? Help me understand what's the problem, right? She actually had a legitimate gripe. And I'm a firm believer, right? If we don't get to the truth of an issue, there's no way you can really fix it. Right? So at that point, I understand what the truth of the situation was, not just how I saw it, but her perception of it as well. And I was able to kill that issue altogether with a few minor tweaks. You know what I mean? And not just that, right? As far as it goes in a relationship, sometimes you got to take the back seat, even though you want to shine, right? Even though you want to be able to take all the praise, sometimes it's not needed, right? Sometimes it's okay to sit back and let your work
You're
speak for
absolutely right.
themselves. Right? So that's what humbles mean to me, just knowing what position you should play at what time, right? Knowing where you're supposed to be at, and understand that because you're not in the forefront doesn't make you less of a component or proponent of what's going on. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My school podcast, what is humble to you? And tell us about a time when you could have been more humble, but you didn't. Yeah, we get vulnerable here. We let other people know that we're human too. We could talk about the good times all day long, but we need to let people know that we've gone through things too, that we're not just up here talking our smack.
Right. Humbleness means to me learning how to just be quiet and listen, and learn, or take, like eat that humble pie. You know what I'm saying? You don't know everything. And just take that time to learn and let somebody teach you. A time that I could have been more humble is that sometimes I'm a little chihuahua. I'm 5'3". I want to be heard. I want to be right. I didn't know that emasculated my husband. I didn't know that. All I know is that you made me upset. I was being emotional, and I wanted you to feel what I was feeling. And that wasn't right.
Absolutely.
Maybe it took me a little bit longer to apologize, but I did apologize. But I could have been humble enough to know, watch my words. Think twice before you think what comes out of your mouth, because once it comes out, you can't take it back. So in that aspect, I could have been more humble, but I definitely learned a lot from doing that. And especially in my role as a woman, being under a man, there's just some things that you just do not do.
Amen. Amen. I love that. I love that. Smitty, you good? You ready? Or should I get intellectual up here first?
All right. Can you hear me on this? Where's the button's messing up? Oh, my button messing up. Can you hear me?
Okay, we'll come back to you. Intellectual, how you doing, fam?
What the heck?
Salute, family. Salute, salute.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Salute to you, Grace. Salute to Mr. Williams. And also salute to Humble Wife podcast or Wife School podcast. You know what I mean? That's family as well. Salute to her as well. So
Yep.
Humbleness is humbleness and love go hand in hand. You know what I mean? They're one and the same, and you can't have one without the other. You know what I mean? So if you humble, you know what I mean, that love for that person gonna kick in as well. And you can't say you love somebody if you're not humble as well. And in order to have a functional relationship, both people gotta submit their will. You can't always have things your way. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially in in the times we live in. We live in America, man. Like, this ain't overseas, this ain't anywhere else, and even over there, people are in the people are certain people and certain cultures are starting to rebel against the norm. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? It's a different time and age. We got technology. We got, different things that we are being exposed to. We got all these different, lifestyles and genders. So a lot of things are changing. So when we dealing with a world like that, you have to adapt, and you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to be able to hear the next person and hear how they grew up. Hear their morals and values, hear what they like and don't like. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be with them, now if you don't want to be with them, then you could tune all that out. And you could just move on to the next. You know what I'm saying? Or just tell them, hey, this is not going to work out for either one of us. But if you truly want to be with somebody, oh, Smitty, you got to mute yourself, bro. You got to echo. Um, but yeah, if you truly want to be with somebody, you got to submit your will, and vice versa. You know what I mean? They got to submit their will to you. I know a lot of people think about this happy wife, happy life thing. Nah, that ain't gonna work. Neither is it gonna be the husband has his way all the time either. That don't work either. You gotta both submit your will, man. You got to. You know what I mean? If not, then somebody gonna feel away, and they're gonna lash out, and you don't want them to lash out, do something crazy, all because you just wasn't being humble. A time I wasn't being humble was I mean, I would say in my lifetime, you know what I mean, and I had to grow out of this as a man. I thought because my name was on everything, the bills and everything else, that I get to do whatever I want, right? I get to do whatever I want. I get to have anybody I want over. I get to say whatever I want. I get to go out anytime I want. I don't care if it's 12 o'clock at night. If I want to go out, I'm going to go out. Reckless, right? Just reckless, right? Because I was the man. You know what I mean? My name is on all the bills. When they call that phone number, my name pop up. You know what I mean? When that PG&E bill come in, or that light bill come in, that electric bill come in, my name is on it. That DirecTV got my name on it. Lease got my name on it. Everything had my name on it. So I felt like, shit, why can't I not dictate what's going on in here? You know what I mean? From the littlest to the biggest. You know what I mean? Every penny, every dollar, I need to know where it's going. You know what I mean? So,
I hear you.
but what happened, the way I got humbled was, you know what I mean? I caught the illness that I have now. You know what I mean? I have a lifetime illness. It's an organ deficiency, and I have to battle daily to keep myself going. You know what I mean? I got to work out daily. I got to eat healthy daily. I got to get enough sleep daily. You know what I mean? Because if I don't, then it's gonna be bad. You know what I mean? It could turn. So yeah, that's what humbled me. You know what I mean? And I still got to
Mm-hmm.
work on it. You know what I mean? Because this is how I was raised. I was raised by men who told me, "Hey, you want to pay the cost to be the boss. Well, this is how you do it. This is what you do." And once you do that, then that's what makes you a man. But it's so much more than that. And I'm gonna tell the brothers again. There's so much more to being a man than just paying bills and having money. I've done it, and trust me, you know, the person I was with they was not happy. They were not happy, and it took me going through what I went through to kind of change everything around. Like I said, I still battle. I ain't perfect. You know what I mean? But now I actually see my flaws, and I'm trying to work on them daily. So yeah.
All right. Can you hear me?
I hear you. That's awesome. That's growth. I've learned not to look at things as losses anymore. I look at them as lessons.
Hey, Grace, Smitty,
Why am
Smitty
I
talking,
going
but his
through
mic is
this?
low.
Oh, he is? I didn't hear him. Is your mic hooked up?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not understanding what in the. Listen, I'm gonna turn my phone off, reset it, and I'm sure it should work this time. I am pissed about this. This is stupid.
Where your earbuds at?
All right, we'll be here.
It sound like he talking through his earbuds. That's what it sound like.
Yeah. Yep. Um, what is okay? So let me answer the question because, of course, I have to answer the question as well. But I like to hear what everybody has to say first. Humbleness to me is knowing when to shut the fuck up. Because I was real sassy when I was young. I was sassy. I'm half Dominican, half Sicilian from New York. I was a daddy's girl, a spoiled brat. He raised me with this mindset. I'm raising you where you may never need a man, but you will want a man. And that was totally wrong. So humbleness to me is knowing when to timing and picking and choosing your battles wisely. I leave stuff in the chamber because sometimes it's not the right time to bring something up. Sometimes it comes up naturally, organically, and I just ease in on it, and it doesn't even look like I even brought it up. It just happened at a conversation. So I don't look like the bad guy, sometimes. When was a time that I knew I could have been more humble than I didn't? I mean, I can go way back when I was a kid. My dad created a monster. I was a spoiled rich brat. Thought that I was entitled to everything, and he realized that he created a monster, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna put this one to sleep. So I was, like I said, I was a spoiled brat. I had the upper level house. I had a library, a living room, a whole balcony in my own room, refrigerator, VCR, maid. I didn't have to do anything but just go to school. So I guess I was popping off the mouth, being sassy, and he turned around and he told me, as your father, I am required to feed you, clothe you, house you, and educate you. Everything else is gravy. I came home and all I found was the mattress on the floor, the hinges off the door, and a lamp with not even a lampshade. And I had to live like that for 6 months. That humbles you real quick when you realize that having the basic necessities should just be enough. But when you grow up that way, you think that it's never enough. And I can tell you that from that day on, as a kid at 15 years old, that humbled me. I've been working ever since because I felt my dad, he brought me a brand new car. Why should you have to put the gas in it too? That forced me to work every day since I was 15, manage my own money, pay bills. So he brought it down to ground zero. Trust me. So, and like I said, humbleness is to know when to be quiet and listen, to actively listen, not to respond. And that's a problem that we do a lot. Like Ricky was saying, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we should be listening just as twice and speaking less. We have to hear the people what they're saying. We might not interpret it or understand it, what they're trying to convey to us, but we have to at least hear them out first. And a lot of us don't do that. We listen to respond, and we miss the whole point. And we think we're right, and we're not gonna budge, and it's my way or the highway. Well, there are a lot of other highways we can ride, baby. you know. All right, Smitty, are we good?
You tell me, are we good now? Can you hear me?
I mean, I can hear you, but not like I usually hear you.
This is all right. I'm just gonna talk. I'm gonna try to log on to my computer as well.
Go ahead.
You said what's humbleness?
Let me lower the background music.
You said
What is humbleness to you? And give me a time when you thought you could have been more humble, but you wasn't.
A time that I should have been more humble, but I wasn't. Let me see something. Grace Home, pull me in right here. Let me see something. Pull me in right here. See it? Boom. There we go. Okay.
Are you talking? We don't hear anything, Smitty. All right, we'll be here. While you figure it out, we're gonna be here. But I gotta keep moving. I'm on the type that I like to keep. You see, I start on time. I like to keep a 2-hour max, 2.5 hour if necessary. 3 hours, I tap out. Because I've learned that people's attention span, you lose them after a while. You know, most people don't have a luxury of 3 hours just to sit there, and you know what I'm saying. So that's how I try to operate, and I have to respect other people's lives. Got a football game going on, but I'm watching it while I'm here right now with you guys. So let's get into it. What does humble mean? Having or showing a modest of low estimate of one's own importance. Not a person that's not proud, not arrogant, unpretentious, modest, and unassuming. Reflecting, expressing, and offering in a spirit of submission. And I know I probably just said a curse word to a lot of people, because when a lot of women and some men hear the word submission, it's like a dirty word. But if women just realize that men submit to us all the time, but in a masculine manner, you know, when they ask, baby, where do you want to eat? And they choose what we want, they're submitting to us. You know, when we say, no, I don't feel like doing this, I want to go to the mall, and they go with us, knowing they don't want to go, hold our bags, walk around the mall and follow us, you're submitting to us. But God forbid if a woman submits to a man. You'll exchange bodily fluids with him, but you won't submit to him. Make that make sense to me. Yeah, I got it. I had to take it there. I had to take it there, because you have to hear it raunchy like that, because we'll be willing to do that, but we can't submit to our man. We can't allow him to lead, but we'll do everything else. It just, you know, I gotta give it to y'all like that. That's the New York. That's up top style. Because women are willing to do so much, but we won't do what really matters, and that's submitting.
Right.
Okay. What's your take on submission, Uncle Ricky?
My take of it is that I don't call what men do submitting. I don't believe it's that. I think we service our women. I am of service to you, right? I am of service to you, but you must be willing to submit to my service, right? You must be willing to submit.
You see what I'm saying?
To the service I provide, right? What's the point of serving somebody if it's never good enough, right? It's never enough for me to give. I like to use this example. You ever went to a restaurant with somebody that no matter how great the service was, the person still wasn't happy? Right? They complain the food is great. Right. The food is great, right? Everybody else at the table, the whole family having to go, oh, the steak is excellent. The pasta is it's perfect, right? The waiter bring your drink out, your drink never get dry. You never see ice in your drink, right? And it's always one person that says, you know what, this place ain't all that. Mm-hmm. Right? The waiter's not good enough, right? So that waiter, the person that is there to service you, to provide you with the greatest experience that you could have at this particular juncture or situation, right? They could be the best server. I'm talking about 3 stars. They get $100 tips every table they go to, right? But if you're not willing to sit back and just open up and let the service set the experience for you, then what's the point?
Right.
This is what our women do, right?
Right.
They say they want a man to service them. They say they'll submit, right, to the service of the right man, the correct man. Well, what is correct?
Right.
Right? Why is there all these standards set upon the men to set the stage for a woman to be what she should be in the first place?
Right.
Right?
Because he who findeth the wife finds a good thing. You could already be wifey material.
Right. Exactly. Right? So I don't believe in the excuse of this conditional femininity or I'll be right when the right man comes along. No, you're just not the right woman.
Right. You're not qualified.
Right? If I'm here to service you, and no matter what my service is, Again, service is different for everybody. The rich man has a different level of service than the average guy,
Right.
so forth and so on, right? But we see it, especially with the explosion of social media, that even the rich guys, no matter what they do, no matter what they provide, the women will not submit to the service.
Right.
Right? Tyrese is the best example, even though I hate using celebrities, right?
Right.
But you got a 5%, you got a 10% man, but you think you can find a 5%er. Right? The service is never enough for you to submit to it. You always think it's greater or better service. You always think it's a better bottle of wine out there. You think it's a better place for you to live. There's a better clothes for you to purchase. It's always something better. Our women are never satisfied.
Right.
So they submit to what I provide as a man.
You're right.
And I service you. But you have to be willing to submit to my service. That's all I got on it.
I love that. I love that. Well, now I'm changing my mindset. I'm not going to use submission for men. I'm going to use service, because marriage is an act of duty and service to each other. So you're absolutely right. Smitty, you good?
Can you hear me, Gracie? Are you what in the?
Did you turn
It's
the
right. You're night to night, honey. It's okay. It's okay. You keep trying. How's your settings on the computer? Do you have your settings on the computer? Oh, he left. Okay, so Wife School podcast. You've heard what we've been saying. You know it's hard for us sometimes to be able to submit. Talk to me. What is your take on it?
Well, I like the ideas of submission because it's kind of like a check and balance of a relationship. Just like we have like the branches of government, one of them, they don't override one another. So I see submission as that check and balance, because before I'm even in the radar of a man, I'm a Christian, so I'm supposed to be submitting to God, right? I'm supposed to be serving God, like he said. And in that process, I'm learning that it's not me all the time, that it's not my will all the time, but sometimes God is providing for me, and I have to allow him to provide and stop trying to lead and go my own way and have my own understanding, which he states in the word. And so by me switching, you know what I'm saying? By me being that woman, by me being submitted in that way, a man can see like, wow, I like the way she moves. I like her demeanor. I can see her. I can cover her. I can provide for her because she has a humbleness about her. She embraces that softness, and she approaches me in a way where she reverences my authority in the relationship, my leadership in the marriage and the relationship. And I think if we would take that attitude, it would make us more feminine and not so masculine, because we just need to turn it off. We need to turn it off. And I think it's a way to do
You're
that.
absolutely right. But feminism tricked us.
Yeah, it gave us this false sense of power. I mean, everybody has the right to be empowered, but when you are power hungry or power drunk, can't nobody tell you anything. You become a monster, as you stated. And so it will take a strong person of authority to make you realize that you ain't it. All right, you don't met the real one today. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think a lot of people had a problem with Kevin Samuels, because he was able to hold a mirror to them and say in real time, okay, so what else? What else? There's nothing. It was nothing. It was nothing that they could stand on that had any legitimacy of power, of authority, or femininity. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. And the men have have started to take their role, and they're starting to say like, I'm not going to take anything
Uh-huh.
less. Okay, and if you don't, you're just going to be alone, sis. Because I'm going to find me a woman that's going to be submissive. And so if you're long enough, you got the kids in the aisle, right? They're crying and everything, acting a fool, but they look up and say, "Oh, where's my mama?" They're going to come. They're going to learn, but they might have to learn the hard way. So you're going to have to submit one way or another.
I hear you. I hear you. Intellectual. What is submission to you as the man?
As I said before, submission is both parties you know basically taking their will or taking the things they want to do and actually compromising it for the other person. I'll give examples of that. Okay, I'll give two examples. So let's say I'm great at construction and landscaping, right? I can fix anything in the house. You know what I mean? No matter what breaks, I can fix it, right? But Grace, let's say you better at the finances. You graduated from college, you know what I mean? And finances is your thing, right? So since I know that you have that ability, you know what I mean? Boom, you handle the finances. I handle the landscaping or whatever needs to be done in the house. We work together. Or here's another way that we both submit our wills, right? I last week had, I had all the boys over. You know what I mean? We had a little man cave thing. Matter of fact, not even a man cave. We took over the living room. We just took over the living room, right? The kids, they had to go in their room or they had to go out or go be with their friends. We took over the house. Me and the boys took over the house. We watching LeBron on the big screen. You know what I'm saying? You done cook for all of us. We chilling. You know what I mean? We talking a whole bunch of noise and we laughing and joking and ha ha and you know what I mean? Making toast and drinking and talking about old stories when we was in college and all that. And you letting us go at it. You letting us have at it. You not even complaining. You know what I mean? You cook the food, you serve us. You just go in your room and you watch your little Lifetime or whatever you watching. You know what I mean? Or you go to the mall real quick and you come back or whatever you doing. Right? But you let us have the house and we just having a ball, man. Me and the fellas are having a ball. You know what I'm saying? Now, this weekend is coming up, right? And you say, hey, honey, you know, this opera is coming to town. You know what I mean? And I hate opera. I'm like, damn, I hate opera. Right? But you're like, hey, opera's coming to town, you know what I mean? And I want to go. I want you to take me. Take me to the opera. You know what I mean? Can you please take me to the opera? It'll make me feel special. You know what I'm saying? I know you hate it. You know what I'm saying? But that would really make me feel great. And you don't even bring up the fact of what you did the week before. You don't even say that. You don't talk about that at all, right? Because you're not trying to guilt trip me. You just say, hey, I really love the opera. Can you please come with me? I want to go. Right? Now, the way I submit my will is I say, all right, you know what? Yo, now I bring it up to myself. You haven't even addressed what you did last week. I bring it up to myself and my thoughts. You know what she did? She did let me and the fellas have the house. You was cutting up. We made a mess in the house. She cleaned up after us, all that. She served the food, everything. She didn't complain a bit. You know what I mean? And she basically served me and my friends, and she didn't ask for nothing back. You know what I mean? You know what? This week I'm gonna go. I'm gonna definitely go to the opera. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go. I'm even find out who's singing. I'm gonna find out what the opera's about. I'm gonna find out, when they take intermission, what kind of snacks, the food is gonna be there. I'm gonna find out everything. I'm gonna find out where we're gonna sit, everything. I'm gonna be really invested. I'm gonna find out, when the next opera coming to town, everything. I'm gonna find out like what they have on sale, if they have any music or CDs or whatever on sale. They got any T-shirts on sale. I buy them ahead of time. Like I'm
You're
just going
going
all
in.
out because, yeah, because you went all out for me. Now, like I said, I don't like opera. Opera is not my thing. I don't want to be there at all. You know what I mean? I want to be back home watching the game. But because you submitted for me, now I submit for you, and I make sure that you're taken care of, and you're pampered, and you're feeling like a queen on that night. And I go and we watching the opera, I'm giving you information about the artist you didn't even know. I like, did you know such and such performed in Rome, and they sat sang with this choir and all that? You're like, oh wow, like you know that? I'm like, yeah, of course. I did my research. You know what I mean? But you're surprised because you're like, I know he hates opera though. I know he hates this, but he's sitting here and
Yep.
he just lapping it up with me, and that's what true love and submission is in a relationship. And listen, for it to work, you gotta have that. You gotta have that. You know what I mean? You gotta invest in that person because if they're investing in you, it'll be selfish for you not to invest back. And that's all I gotta say.
Absolutely. You have to have reciprocation. See, that's where I think a lot of the problems come in. You have one person doing more than the other, and what happens? Anger sets in, then resentment seeps in, and then hatred. I mean, even to that level, I mean, you have to, it has to be a two-way street. And Rick, I have to wait, what do you mean? What do you say to
Okay.
reciprocation?
No, reciprocation is necessary. I'm saying, I think when people go into a relationship thinking that it's going to be 50-50, that's not realistic, right? In relationships, there's usually one person giving more than the other, right? The reciprocation is just understanding between each other
At
that,
different
hey,
times. Hmm.
right. That's what I'm saying. So I just wanted to clarify. So it's not an argument.
Absolutely, I agree with that because maybe tomorrow I make 80 and you'll give 20, and then the
Right.
next day you're gonna have to. I'm under the weather. You're gonna give 95, and I'm 30. But my whole point is that as long as it keeps a flow of give and take,
Yes.
you can't
Yes.
have a
There you
taker,
go.
taker,
Yes.
taker, 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 and a
Yep.
giver, 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 because that's when it starts not getting nice. So to me, submission, I used to think, and Rick brought it up, oh, I'll submit to a man that's worthy to submit. But the only difference is that I grew up valuing, respecting, and appreciating men as a little girl. I mean, I saw my parents. I grew up with uncles and male cousins and, Sonny from the block and, Tony, uncles that you walk me to school, didn't even know who they were with long jackets. I was always safe. I was always protected. So I valued men. And I think that's the root of the problem. We can't even talk about submission if a woman hasn't been taught how to communicate and love a man, let alone submit to a man. And I'm going through it right now. I'm dating a gentleman and he is as alpha as they can get. And there's a lot of new things on how I have to move with this gentleman that I'm not used to. And I have to hold my tongue. I have to accept it, because if I'm going to accept his program, I have to be willing to be open. But we have a joke, and I got it from the Lapeef Network. When I have a grievance, I contact HR, and I submit a grievance, and we actually do the whole scenario, and it works for us because we don't argue about it. We don't go back and forth with it. I submit my grievance, and then I get a follow-up 2 to 3 days later. Like, it's all good. But you have to live and learn, and you have to be willing. You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing, because if you want to get what you want, you have to change. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, then you're insane. Because that is the definition of insanity. Yes, I kept dating men, but they were betas. Yes, I'm a very strong-willed woman, but I can be very submissive. I know now when to be quiet. I know now when to bring up situations. You have to allow the man to be the man. Even he'll pass the exit, and after and now sometimes I'll be like, you didn't just pass the exit, right? Well, why didn't you tell me? I said, oh no. You got the directions out. You have the GPS. I am not going to get in an argument with you about you just passed the exit. And I don't get upset. We just turn around. We get right back on the exit. But to argue about something so silly and ruin the mood, you're on your way to a date, so you pass the exit. Big deal. So you're late. Okay, well, we'll go somewhere else. You just, again, you got to learn how to pick and choose your battles and when to pick them. Sometimes I hate to use the word battles because people see it as something negative, but it's just, you got to learn and pick and choose your situations and your discussions. You don't want to hit a man when he's been at work all day, he's tired, he's hungry, and as soon as you come in the house, give the man a cold beer, have ESPN on, get his clothes, let him unwind, just like we like to unwind. I always say happy spouse, happy house. And I take it to the next level. Happy king, happy kingdom. Because a king will be with a queen, but a queen is nothing without a king. And women need to realize that. So, but that's a whole nother situation. And I'm gonna read this comment. I have to cook for the other man. I didn't sign up for this. LOL. Well, you see, Lena, that kind of mindset is gonna keep you having a dog and die alone. Because if you expect him to participate in your foolishness and watch chick flicks and Lifetime, you have to be able to do the same thing for him. Again, it's a give and take. So who cares? You have to put an extra pack of chicken wings in the fryer. Is it that serious? You got to eat too. The kids got to eat. I mean, you gotta choose. And I read the chat break in the back, so I got you. I know you said you have to leave by 9.
Yeah,
so
it's just
keep going.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy to a positive vibe. Like,
go ahead.
It's funny how you didn't sign up for that, but when you got kids, right, it's part of the package deal.
Well, my homeboys are not part of the package. Right?
It's very weird that your name is positive vibes and all I feel is negative vibes. So
no, I'm not even going with that. I'm cool with positive vibes. I'm just saying that, like, it's crazy how it's just crazy how people look at it, right?
Right.
When it's on the woman's side of the thing, it's just simply her. It comes with her. You knew we were a package deal, right? Well, I had my friends before I met you, right? Aren't they part of the deal?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Right.
It's so disheartening.
Fact.
It's the entitlement,
Okay, so let's
we just take it to the extreme because it's really a lot of weight on the man because of his responsibility in the relationship. It's an expectation that we may put on him as, well, you have to do this. You have to. Well, he's being generous and showing you not in the purpose of holding it over your head. Actually, he loves you. That's how he's loving you. So what's the problem? As you said, embrace.
You know where that comes from?
The service, Go ahead, love.
Do you know where that comes from? That comes from, we're always taught how a man should treat us and what men should do for us. But we're not taught on how we should treat a man or what a man needs from us. Again, it's very one-sided. Woo! And then you're surprised. And I'm gonna throw this, and I know they ain't gonna like it. And then you're surprised when they date outside their race. And then you're surprised when they go date Yvette or Lena, or you know what I mean? It's not fair to blame us. Yeah. We have to, and I keep it in my desk. You have to take the mirror out and look at yourself. And we can't keep using the excuse when I didn't grow up with a daddy. I didn't have a daddy to teach me. You can Google anything nowadays. You can YouTube anything nowadays. There's just no excuse.
Right.
I mean,
it's not that difficult.
We aren't allowed the space to have the excuse of I didn't know or my father wasn't there. We should be the man you need us to be when we get there. You know what I mean? It's just strange how, like I said earlier, a man has to provide a space for a woman to be the woman she's supposed to be, right? It's crazy. And I asked that question earlier, like, who raised you, lady? Like, don't nobody. What women? It's crazy how women are taught about men either one or two things, in my opinion. And again, I'm talking in generals, right? Mm-hmm. They're either taught that to fear a man, right? To either fear a man or use a man, right? How many of y'all been taught how to love a man? Who set y'all down, right? Who set y'all down and told you, hey, if this man is about his salt and he shows that he loves you, how you should treat him? Who taught y'all that?
It's not many women that will say that.
Well, I wasn't literally sat down and talked to, but I saw it. Like, for example, my aunt and uncle, they used to work together. And when they would come home, the first thing she would do is he would take a bath and shower. She would cook for him. And then I would see her shave him, cut his hair nose, his ear nose. I mean, totally groom him while he's drinking, because he was a drinker. He was a functional alcoholic. And he would always show up for work, pay the bills, take care of the kids. But my aunt loved that man and did whatever needed to get done to make sure that man was happy. Make sure he had his drink, he had his dinner, and then I'll hear him say, she used to call her Cheeky. He's like, Cheeky, it's time to groom me. It's the weekend's coming up. And she learned how to cut his hair. And that's how my dad, you know what my job was when my dad came home from work every day? Was to rub his feet with Bengay. I hated it because my hands would stay smelling like Bengay. But my mom would be in the kitchen giving orders or whatever. And my job was to rub his feet and make sure that he was good. And 6:30 every day, we had till I was 14 years old. You better be home before the street lights come on. But 6:30 every day for 14 years of my life, we sat down and had dinner as a family. Well, I don't care if we was fighting, arguing, we was mad at each other. You better show up at that dinner. And that's what's not going on nowadays. That's what's missing. Everybody's in their room. Everybody's not socializing. We only get together for weddings, funerals, and Thanksgiving. That's it. And to watch the football game and things like that. And it's sad. It's sad. So let me keep going. Smitty must have got lost in the sauce. So a humble person is not proud and does not believe that they are better than other people. They put others at the forefront of their thoughts. Humble people don't brag about themselves. Instead, they brag of others, while the prideful people brag of themselves. Have you ever been on a date where that person just talks about themselves and all of a sudden, you're like, when are they going to shut the hell up? I need another drink just to come. They don't give you an opportunity. I mean, are you really interested in me, or are you just here to talk about yourself and brag how great you are? And if you were that great, then why aren't you with somebody? Why are you not married? See, those are the thoughts that I get. It should be a give and take conversation. But to take over the whole conversation and tell me how great you are and how much money you make and you do this and you do that, what do you need me there for then? So truly humble people keep quiet about their accomplishments and the good things they do. When you do good things for people, you don't brag about it. I mean, I've seen some videos where people show it, but they end up helping them even more. Those are okay, but the one that, hey, I didn't let Junebug $500 to start his business, and he ain't even paying me back yet, and and you telling the whole neighborhood. Why? And then why did you even do it? If you're not going to help with an open heart and an open hand, then just keep your raggedy help to yourself. Intellectually, you haven't spoken in a while. You got anything to add? Anything to say? There?
Well,
he's probably watching the game.
Oh, he's Mr. Best. Yeah, it's like you said, don't sound the horn, because whether people are watching. People are watching what you do. And people that can see or that can sense, you can sense somebody's intentions. You know what I'm saying? And it's an ugly thing to witness when you're trying to do something to get glorification for it, when it's supposed to be coming off as good intentions. And I just think that just such an ugly thing. And what's beautiful sometimes is when you can do something and not and expect something in return. That's kind of rewarding. That's how I like to operate. Maybe I go above and beyond, but I want my person to feel comfortable. I want them to know that I'm thinking of them, that I'm considering them, and I don't want to see nobody else. I just want it to be you, and that's just how I roll. You know what I'm saying? And that makes me happy, because if you're happy, you're getting pleasure, and you're at peace, that makes me happy. And I want to show up even more and do more and do more and do more for you. And it's just I don't
I
know. I
hear
think
you.
to embrace that more, instead of how we see things are so transactional, and it's just like it just takes the love out of everything. Because if I don't do something, am I worried about my wife going to greener grass, somebody else, or stupid stuff like that. And that's what we see perpetuated online. We know that it goes on in real life, but it seems like it's happening more often, and it seems like the statistics are bringing up more of these numbers of just this unhappiness thing, this unhappiness theme that's going around, instead of being humble, like humility. But
I
this
hear
happiness
you. I hear you.
fleeting. It's so fleeting, and it really makes people just run at the drop of a dime, at the sneeze of a cat. Like it's just bad. It's just bad, and I'm just thankful that we're highlighting this, because people need to hear this message. People need to hear, you need
I
to
agree
put
with
in
you.
things for your husband and his friends. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really not that big of a deal. So
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Absolutely. Okay. I know you got to leave. I want to thank you for coming up. If you could just give me your final thoughts and your takeaway, I would appreciate it. And again, I am so honored that you came up here for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your platform. My final thoughts is that, again, in a relationship, an ego has no place, right? Kill your ego. Murder your ego. I'm not saying not be a confident person and have your own belief structures and the things you believe in. But when it comes to this partner, remember you chose
Mm-hmm.
them just like they chose you, right? So set that stuff to the side and put your best self forward.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, either way, if you quell your ego, you're gonna get the answer that you're asking for, right? If you putting everything and putting your ego and your feelings, putting
Uh-oh.
your feelings, especially your bad feelings, to the back, and this person still
Uh-oh. What happened?
I don't know.
I can't hear you, Ricky. Can you hear me?
No, he said he had to
Boy,
jump
we just
off. I don't
getting
know
a
if you
lot
heard
of
him.
technical difficulties
Wow.
tonight.
I think he said he had to jump off.
No, but
Oh, okay. So he
final
jumped
word.
off already? Okay.
I think
All
he had to
right.
jump off. Let me say this, family.
All
I
right.
think a big
So
part of
let me
it is that
go
you
ahead.
just got to find somebody that you just equally yoke with. You know what I'm saying? You got to find somebody that you have things in common that you equally are balanced with.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you the type that you don't really like to cook, or you don't really like to kind of do certain things, you got to find somebody that can cook or that's okay with that. I mean, if you're a homebody, you got to find somebody that loves being a homebody.
Right.
Find people that love doing the things you do and are interested in building the type of relationship you want to build. Because if it's anything outside that, then it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be
Right.
hard because you're not on the same page. You know what I mean? You don't have the same values, beliefs, and the chemistry is gonna be way off. You know what I mean? Because y'all are not really in tune with each other. You know what I mean? But when you do have things that are equal to each other, you have the same passions, you both are driven, you both believe in doing something better, then that's when things actually get better. You know what I mean? So that's just the mindset we have to have. Just knowing that, okay, I have to, what I mean, make sure that me and this person are on the same page.
Right.
Because I don't know about anybody else, but I like peace in my home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not saying it's always gonna be peaceful, but god dang it, I'm gonna
I
try.
know
You
that's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
Right.
So that's just what it is. And nobody wants to come home to a place where it's just arguments or it's just always disruption. Nobody wants to come home to that. So I think you know, both parties just gotta come in with the attitude that, okay, this is my home, this is my sanctuary, and I'm gonna treat it as that.
I
Exactly.
hear you. So, can you come in through my StreamYard? Because I'm freezing up and maybe you'll be able to um exit the studio, enter the studio. I'm entering through my phone right now, because I'm frozen here and I can't get you guys on the camera. Give me just a second.
No, you can't see me?
Okay, there I am again.
I can see you now.
I can see you now. Okay. But it is just frozen and I'm trying to get the cameras to everybody.
Like I want to change the position. Okay, there we go.
Like I want to change the position. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go.
So
Here we go.
let's continue.
Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue on. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, which one are you gonna be broadcasting from? Because it keeps echoing every time you talk.
Okay, let me figure it out. I'll remove from stage. Okay, so I'm there. I'm just there once. Did I get off of the? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so a truly humble person keeps quiet about their accomplishments and good things they do. I'm going to talk about 13 habits of what natural humble people are like.
Mm-hmm.
They are situationally aware. Again, it's knowing when to bring up situations, knowing when to bring up conversations. Right. Ability to retain relationships. Make difficult decisions with ease. Put others first. Listen, not to respond, but to actively listen. They're always curious. They speak their minds. They take time to say thank you. They have an abundance of mentality. What does it mean? Humble people don't believe that one person's winning is another person's loss. Instead, they know that there's plenty of opportunity to go around and that finding it is just necessitates collaboration and communication. So in other words, they're not crabs in a pot. See, I believe that what I'm doing on YouTube right now, I'm rocking with those who rock with me.
Right.
Okay. And I want to create a buffet table where we can all eat.
Yes.
Not just me, because the same people I got to see while I'm climbing up the ladder, I might have to see them climbing down the ladder if, God forbid, it doesn't go my route. So that's why you have to always stay humble. You always have to stay grounded. So that is what having an abundance of mentality means. Okay. Number 10, start sentences with you rather than I. Put others on the forefront for their thoughts, and they brag about others and not themselves. Number 11, they accept feedback. Humble people are not only receptive to constructive criticism, but they actively seek it because they only know that it gives them an opportunity to improve.
Right.
So that is the difference. Okay, I must be on my phone and not on the computer. Hold on one second, because I have a new guest. There we go. There you are. Okay. So that's an important one, because a lot of people can't take constructive criticism. I've learned how to take constructive criticism, but with me, approach is very important. Don't come at me yelling, cursing, all rah, 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 rah. Because one, I can go there with you, and I'm not trying to. Like, my therapist said, we're going to work on being more graceful versus so gangster. So that's my motto. That has been my motto for the past 5 years. Trying to be more graceful, embrace my grace. You think that's just a name, but I actually apply that to my life every day. I have it on my bathroom mirror. Don't just be grace. Be amazing grace. Embrace your grace. And I read that every morning while I'm washing my face, because sometimes a coach needs a coach. I'm not perfect. I've gone through a lot too, but I want to let people know my experience to see if they can learn and be better. How you doing, Reddy?
What's going down? Can y'all hear me?
Can you hear me, Reddy?
I can hear y'all loud and clear. I was going to type something, but I couldn't spell it, so I had to come in here and say it.
That's
I'm
okay.
like, man,
That's
fulfillment,
okay.
fulfillment. Anyway,
I love
It's all
having
right.
you. I love having you.
I want to say this real quick. I said,
What do you have to say?
life. I just peeped it, right? 'Cause people keep saying, and I wasn't happy, and I wasn't happy. Life ain't about feelings. It's about fulfilling your duties. And that's what makes this world keep going and going and going and going. People don't understand that. You're not going to always be happy doing what you have to do. But once it's get done, you feel much better in a warm house. You feel much better with your stomach filled and the food cooked. You know what I mean? See, people always putting their feelings over their duties, their purpose. Just do what needs to be done. Your feelings, like I told people, your feelings is yours. If you have some crappy feelings and you choose to share them, then you're gonna have a crappy mood and have crappy people around you. But your feelings is technically your feelings. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? People don't understand that part. They get in their feelings when I say that.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's what it is. We have a purpose. Everybody has a purpose in life. It's not about who can make me do this. When do we get back to where we want to make somebody happy? Like we want to make somebody like it's like it's one-sided now. It's like it's one-sided and it's being praised.
Right.
It's being praised to be one-sided. Like I remember back in the days, women would want to have a man. Women would want to say, "My man like it." They don't even say that no more. My man like it. They shamed them into being single. They shamed them so they could be single. What you mean, your man? What you mean? Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But in the same token, as a man, we control all this because no woman can't whip our ass. So if we don't get our stuff together, they can't follow nothing. You know what I mean? They don't have nothing to follow. So basically, yeah, you do got to take responsibility, and only person that can make that woman be responsible is herself and her women friends around her. Don't just have girlfriend time just to be bashing each other, bash men.
Right.
Girlfriend time, let's bash this nigga.
Yeah.
No. Have girlfriend time to be like, girl, you was wrong. That man need to see his kids. You wrong. You need to do this. Girl, you wrong. And like, cause I be noticing, I'll be sitting there and I do a lot of listening. And you notice the women that have a bunch of women friends now are the ones that agree with her BS.
Right. Exactly.
The ones that don't have friends, because a lot of them ain't putting up with it. You know what I'm saying? So or she don't deal with the BS that's in it.
You have to limit your time with what you know your girlfriends are gonna bring out. And my friends always say, "Oh, we should go to dinner." I'm like, I'd rather hang out with a dude than spend time with you. And it's like, because I know it's the same questions. What you doing? What's going on in your life? Nothing. But it's always a fishing going on. And so what about that? You want to start talking about my life. Why don't you develop your life? Because I'm trying to get married. I'm trying to do this over here. And that requires focus. That requires me not to be distracted and taking all these things, indoctrinations into my head. Look at Tyrese's wife. She said, if I hadn't been around the wrong people, I probably still would have been married today. But why do we have to get to that hindsight part? Why does everything have to be torn apart and ripped apart to where the man doesn't even want you anymore, to really realize that you should have just went to your husband. You should have went to therapy. You should have worked on that. And as he said, keep your feelings, but modified in the way that I'm still respecting you within this marriage because I love you and I want you and I want us to be happy together. So
and that's the communication from every generation. That means old ladies that when you used to be wilding in the streets and doing what you did, need to talk to the young ones. Old to the new. Never stop. I don't care if they don't listen. You never stop talking from the old to the new. That's how we're going to help each other, by everybody playing their part. Don't get it twisted. Grown men do stop young kids. We do talk. We do. We constantly checking each other.
Right.
Constantly. But why would you check somebody and
Barbershop,
trying to straighten them out? And then the woman that they grooming her to be his enemy.
Mm.
They're grooming her to be his enemy, and they telling you to be a sucker.
Mm.
And it's just crazy. And when you and as a man, you're not allowed to speak
that
what
that
But that's when
you're
the
not allowed.
man is raised by a woman, because she can a mom can impose her ideals on her son. That's why men are so important to the masculine side of the boy, so that he can correct all that and be a leader. You know what I'm saying? So how can you perpetuate leadership if you're not being really shown how to be a leader? And if a woman is telling you how to lead, but she doesn't really know what it takes for a man to lead, when we're supposed to be the receivers, kind of, in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And not saying to leverage that, but we do receive.
That's some bars. That's some bars.
And protect. And it's and I have sons, right? I'm divorced, and my children's father can show up. He can be there. He has 50-50. All the things that men would say women don't do, I try to do it, because I know the importance of a father, of time, of presence in a man's life, in the child's life, and he doesn't take advantage of that opportunity. And so I feel like, well, what the heck am I going to do? You know, I can't grab my little guys by the balls and say, like, yo, you can't do this, and baby them and coddle them. No, they're going to make mistakes. And I have to talk with them through it, but not make them feel like they can't open up to me, or that I have this, you know what I'm saying? And I try to allow them to, be little men. But there's a limitation on it. There's a limitation. I have a limitation.
Mm-hmm.
They need that man. I need to embrace that humbleness, that I cannot produce a man. I can carry one, but I cannot make a man.
So and even if like how people say, because I be seeing it with my moms too,
and
it's like,
and you know what's
even
funny?
if the man is not there, like if he's not there, right? Your best bet is to continually pray, and at the same time trust that you showed them already. You can't worry too much or keep trying to coddle him or whatever the case may be because his father not there, or try to be the hard one because his father. No, stay in your position, pray, and just keep giving him knowledge. He hears you. Trust me. We hear mommy. We hear him all day, and sometimes when we leave, we start talking like mommy. You understand me? So he's listening. So let him develop. See, that's what daddies do. We fall back, we give you the information, fall back and watch you see what you're gonna do with it. When I trained my son how to ride a bike, I used to hold the back of the bike. Then I'm like, wait a minute, hold no bike. I'm gonna show you how to fall first. And then after I show you how to fall, then I'm gonna show you how not to fall. Now I'm gonna leave you alone and you're gonna pedal that bike. And guess what? He's been riding bikes ever since. So you got to fall back and like, oh, it's scary because like, I don't want to go down this path. I don't want to this. No, you just, hey, suck it up. We made mistakes and we did what we did. Now we got to live through it and be humble and slow down, be patient. God got them. That's real talk. We can't be, we don't have all the answers. We not God. So fall back and be like, I already told him. I showed him this. I showed him that. I'm just going to keep playing mommy role. Because trust me, there's dudes out there that will father kids without being in your house. Right. That's what we do, especially when we see young men. We do be like, yo, son, don't, trust me, Most High will put somebody in every single situation to, hey, son, you should do it like this or don't do that. It's on him to take that knowledge in. And it's you keep up the prayer and keep staying in mommy's role and be patient. That's it. That's all you can do is be patient. Be like, okay, cool. And always be, that's what we got. We missing this. We need to continue hugging and kissing your children.
Yeah. They get sick of me.
It's like that, grandmas and Grammys, you know what I mean? Yeah. Continue hugging and kissing and continue cooking.
Ooh, yeah.
They don't know how important that is to have something baked. I don't care what it is. Have something cooked in the house. Have something food in there. I'm trying to tell you, it's so real in the field. Grandmas is gone. That was the scariest time of my life. When all the grandmas in everybody's family was gone at one time. Like, you just noticed, like, no grandmas. This shit is scary. Like, we the new grandmas? and we're not cooking, and no, what's going on? Do you wonder why nobody's at your house? Do you wonder why nobody's treating you like grandma? Because you're in a club twerking. It was crazy.
Uh-oh. I tell my son all the time, you love to eat. You love to eat. You better get you one that know how to cook, because that twerking is cute until your kidneys are touching your back. And Roman, you weren't raised on Roman. You were raised on rice and beans and collard greens and cornbread and you know, well, Mom, how will I know if she knows how to cook? I said, okay, well, this is because I give them a lot of game now. Okay, I said, this is what you do. You go over there the first night and you go have dinner, but you go check to see if there's any takeout containers or anything of that. But then the second time you're at her house, I need you to sit there in the living room and watch her cook. See if she know how to cook. See if she know how to not cross-contaminate utensils. Does she clean as she go? I mean, you have to bet. I mean, he's too young right now, but when you get older, you know what you like. I told him, don't marry the church girl if you like the stripper type of chick. Because it's not me that you're going to get married. You're going to get married for you. You don't have to satisfy society. You don't have to satisfy me. The only one you have to satisfy is God and yourself. Don't be fronting. You marry who you like. You because that's the person, that's your person. That's what you're going to have kids with. That's what you stuck with. And that's how I kind of framed it to him, because I mean, yes, he's young, but you got to start planting that seed now. And
yeah, fact.
Bringing that up, I'm having a great show. I'm collabing with Hink, the importance of mentoring, especially for us single moms. You know, the importance of men stepping up and mentoring, where we can find programs to put our boys into the mentoring program. So look for that coming up. Hink and I are going to collaborate. We always get together every 2 months and we do a show together. So that's going to be a good one, because a lot of single moms need to hear this. I'm going to tell you a quick story. My son right now, he's a senior. I moved where I was living at, and I let him stay where he was at for several reasons. One, we just moved from Florida to Georgia. I didn't want to pull him from another high school. It's his senior year. And two, he has my niece's husband there, which you'll have that male influence under the roof. He's only 10 miles away from me, a $20 Uber ride. It was the hardest 3 days in my life because I cried about it. I prayed about it. All I had to do was call my homies from New York, and they said, yo, you getting soft on us. You better get that titty out his mouth. He'll be about 18 years old now next year. This was going to happen. This was going to happen regardless. You better let him go. Let him go. It was hard, but I had to think of the betterment of his mental health, the betterment of his future. Him being and her husband was a much more stable environment from him than me pulling him out at senior year at another high school, when he was just finally getting acclimated to this high school. And I'm living proof. This has to happen. Some of us moms need to give up our kids when the boys or even the girls are 9, 10 years old. Kids do better in a single father household than they do in a single mother household. But I'm not knocking all single moms, because there's some damn good ones out there. And I'm going to put myself in that category, because I was blessed to have been raised with a lot of men around me. So a lot of the things that my father taught me, I've applied to his teachings. You know, and he has coaches, he has teachers. He does have his dad in his life, not as active as I would like it, but he is there. All he's got to do is pick up a phone and his dad is there. And I was like you. I was one of the good baby mamas. I was very cooperative, whatever he wanted. I never stopped him from seeing his kid, but we still get shitted on. You know, you see these other baby mamas that treat their baby daddies like dogs, and they get everything they want. But me and Wife School Podcast, we do the right thing, and we still but you know what? We're doing it for a higher being and a better reason. we can't, I had to learn. I can't worry about what the other women are doing or what I'm not getting.
Exactly.
I just gotta worry about my seed. That's all that matters. So Braxton writes, long-standing issues of a lot of single mothers, usually Black, zoning the sons and growing the daughters, both are set up for their own separate failures. I agree, because we're not teaching our little girls how to be wives. Half of them can't even boil water. Yes, you can go to college. You can go to get a degree, but all that is not going to matter if you don't have a family. You don't have a husband to cover you. You don't have kids to grow your legacy. What is your degree going to do? What is your six-figure paycheck going to do? Because when that earthquake comes and them cars are floating down the river, what are you going to say? Show them your master's degree and be like, oh, I'm exempt.
Right.
You gonna want a man to help you get your ass out of that flood. That's what you're gonna want. Let me see. I'm a little bit behind on the comments. Let's see. Wally said, their bad experiences have trained them to look at men as the enemy. They need to reflect on their own choices in life. Absolutely, Wally. And that is the whole objective of the Embrace the Grace channel, is to turn the mirror on us. I'm including myself, ladies, and of us become better women for our men.
Yes.
Okay. And what did Braxton come back and say? Let's see. Embrace the Grace. He's saying hi. Thank you for coming, Braxton. You are an admin visitor. You always coming over here between me and Angry Man. You're always in between us, because I know he's live now. So I hate to go up against my people that I rock with, because I'm actually a moderator on his channel. So I'm supposed to be there working right now, but I gotta work my channel, Yeah. Hold on. He said, he wrote a couple things. Let's see. Conversation be getting good sometimes, He said here, Paw and Uncle and So have been gone, so you can't put nothing on them, Paw. You and I read it just like he wrote it. Yeah, you're right. The absence of the man in the household. And I was telling somebody today, it started in the 60s. When boys are 11 or 12, they need to go live with their fathers, grandfathers, or uncles if they're living with a single adult female. Well, I can attest to that. It wasn't 11 or 12 because me and my husband separated when he was 11. And we haven't been together for 6 years now, but he's been, he know who his dad is. He can go to his house. It's very flowing. There's no animosity. Was it perfect all the time? No. Was it a bowl of cherries? No. But we've worked through it. And that's what matters. But I agree with you, Braxton. Especially the sons. We can teach a man, our sons, how to be good men, but we can't teach them how to be men.
Ready? Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Now, I've heard this from a man before, but I want to ask you. Now, Gracie said that you be taking it there, right? Ready? Does the father, they do not come around because they do not have access to the mother's underwears? Is that part of it?
You got everybody's situation is different. Let's put it like this. In every single relationship, both parents are to blame. In every there's no, I was just innocent. No, I picked the wrong. She picked the wrong. So sometimes you might pick somebody that just wanted your drawers. So you got the baby by him, thought you were going to do that in the third. Sometimes you pick a woman because you thought she was going to do this, and that didn't work. And most times, if you see, like, there's some dudes that don't want babies, and they already made it plain, but it's not making it plain because they're not smart enough to not have sex. That's what you have sex for, to procrastinate, to procreate. That's really what you're doing, having sex.
Yes.
And all that other stuff is just whatever. So if you have a wife, then you can have it for fun. But when you lay down, you're trying to put on the next generation. You're trying to do like create. That's what you're here for.
Right.
So when you lay down right there, and there's some people that say, I don't want no kids, but he's still playing them games, and you still allow that, you can't get mad at this person because, he didn't grow up, and you allow him to still be a child. But now you see there's some people that do wake up. A lot of men deal in logic because it's dangerous for us not to. So you see a lot of like, excuse my French, a lot of bitch dudes be acting like that, and whatever the case may be, and they don't deal in logic. But real men deal in logic, and after that, the women that's around the women that you're trying to see your children, everyone is against you. As a man, this is how real it is. I shouldn't say it, but I have to say it because we get frowned on when it's said, so I got to say it anyway before I pass on. I want my legacy to live. It's going to be on tape forever, so I'm gonna let it be live. I'm gonna let it live. Everyone's against you, as a man, for real, for real. So once you learn that, he's like, only person I do got is the Most High. So that means I am very special. Everybody's special when they start recognizing who they related to. You start recognizing your relationship with God. You say, okay, so I need to get myself correct.
Right.
Because as the man, once I get everything correct, can no one stop me? He already put that in me. Once I get everything, I will make things move. I don't have to go ahead and ask her for nothing. I ain't got to ask her to go see this. I ain't got to ask her to bring me the kids. I'm going to go get them. I'm going to go put them here. I'm going to go do this. See, you know this. Women do not fuss with their boss. Woo! Women do not fuss with their boss. I don't care how black, white, Puerto Rican, Spanish. They do not fuss, especially if they got a good job. So imagine that man. And that's his kids. And knowing that most men will go crazy for their kids. So imagine that man who's doing this thing, who is God-fearing, who's making that money, who's doing everything. She have nothing else to say. Right. So it's on the man to get right, period. And it's on the woman to fall back and be like, you know what, he's getting himself. I need to get myself together and do what I'm supposed to do. Everybody got to take accountability for the damn self. And if you see some, women ain't stupid. That's what we know. Y'all not stupid. You know what the man coming over there for. You know what's going down. And if you look at you. Look, if you keep over there and gonna let something slide, it's on you.
Right.
It's on you. So we got to stop playing games and be grown-ups. I learned this stuff. I said, when I got older, I realized that people just got older just so they could be adult kids and no one can tell them what to do. They grew up just so they could be adult-ass kids. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's what we doing now? I thought when I got older and gray hair, people were going to act like adults now. I'm like, yeah, I'm a dad now. I'm a father. I'm a grown man. And you still see people playing games like when we was in high school and shit. I'm like, but see, they don't want to grow up. I'm gonna have to grow up. Somebody got to watch over these children. Somebody got to be the So if they ain't going to do it, I'm going to step in there and do that. I'm going to lay down the laws, make the rules, and do what I got to do, and take on the responsibility of taking care of what I need to be taken care of. Not because it makes me happy, not living my best life happy. No, it's because I got a job to do. My happiness is when everything is going, it's moving like clockwork. And I know, okay, I got to go out here, get this money, get this stuff. Okay, I got to make sure the food is right. I got to make sure the house is in there. I got to make sure the house is in order. Constantly, that's every day. And it's not me getting tired of that because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the work. And the woman's supposed to be here to back me up, to inspire me to go to work. And when I come home to touch men, women don't even touch men no more. They don't touch men. They don't do that. They don't. I told this one girl, I like the way you pull my beard. She stopped doing it. So I stopped telling people what I like because they won't do it no more.
Oh, damn.
They won't do it. They don't touch you. I remember when you was a kid, when you had no job or nothing, they would just, eat this and massage you, do all this. As soon as you become an adult, nah, whatever. So I'm like, okay. Women ain't the only ones that like to be massaged and rubbed down and stuff like that. Men do too.
Yes.
Men like to cuddle, but they look like a punk when you say that. Oh, you want to cuddle? Kind of sucker? No, I like cuddling. I like being just like I like being into that person. I didn't know this. I was in a we was
Like
in a hotel about
intimacy.
2 years.
Yes,
2 years.
intimacy.
2 years in one small room until the baby was born. That's when my firstborn was born. We was in there. We was in a hotel room, and it was only one room. I didn't have no problems. I ain't had no problem. I had clean coochie every day. Come on now, clean coochie. Like people don't know how good that is, but man, clean coochie, man. Listen, you don't know how valuable that is until you had been hit with a couple of penicillin shots. I'm like telling you, like, yo, you like, man, you know what? I'm good. Clean Gucci's all right with me. You know what I mean? That's why it makes you not, run around and do shit. It is what it is. Cherish life, ladies, guys.
But I do have to say that is sometimes a contributing factor. If the man is not getting you in that manner, there are men that will take it out on the kids. Just like women use the children as a pawn, there are men out there. So absolutely, to answer your question as a woman, yes, there are men that will use the fact that they can't hit it anymore and take it out on the kids and not do what they're supposed to do for the kids. They won't be man enough to tell you, but you can pick up on that. You can pick up on that, and that has nothing, the children has nothing to do with my body. It's over. We're not together anymore. But, we have to have emotional intelligence. And if you guys notice, all my shows always intertwine with each other. We bring up the same topics, and then I do a show about it. And you and me may have a conversation later, and my light bulb will go, oh, that's the next week's show. That has to be talked about. Just like when Ricky said it last Monday on the panel, marriage humbles you. That hit me. That struck a chord with me. I said, we got to talk about humbleness, because we are not overall as a society, as a race, as a community, we are not humble enough to each other. So if we're not humble enough to each other, then we're not humble enough to the one who we need to be the most humble to. Okay? So with that being said, I got two more. Humble people assume responsibility. They take accountable by speaking up and owning to their part to the foolery that took place. That's what makes a humble person. They ask for help. It's realizing that you don't have all the answers, because no one does. No one has all the answers. Humble people acknowledge what they do and do not know, and enlist help from others. And I get that, because I'm the type, I was always the go-to person. I never had, and that's changed for me in the past 2 years. And it's still hard for me to ask for help, because I don't want to hear all that yippity yap. It's either yes or no. Don't make me tell you the whole story. If I'm calling you for a specific type of help, it's either yes or no. Don't tell me you'll call me back later. Just, are you going to help? Yes or no? I hate that. And that's what deters me from asking for help. I would rather deal with it myself than having to call somebody. Well, what happened, girl? Why do you? I ain't got time for all that. It's either you want to help. No, you want to just be all in my business and then talk shit later. Oh, yeah, I helped Embrace. Oh, I helped her channel come up. She did all this and da-da-da. That's why it's hard. I am a humble person, but that is the main reason why it's hard for me to ask help, because a lot of people don't help with good intentions. They kick you while you're down. There's a difference between empathy and sympathizing with somebody. Empathy is when you stand by their side until they get back on their feet and strong. Sympathy when you're just feeling sorry for them. Don't feel sorry for me. Empathize what I'm going through. That's why I got on Instagram on my birthday. And it was kind of embarrassing and humiliating to tell my story. But you know what? It has to be heard. It has to be told. Last year on my birthday, I was sleeping in the car. This year on my birthday, I got 2 great jobs. I got a podcast. I got my own place. God works in mysterious ways. He will take everything away from you to get your attention. Mm-hmm. Hey, our God is a jealous God. So I have here in my notes what things that we can do to be more humble. Okay? Be aware of your own shortcomings, strengths, and limitations. Recognize it and acknowledge the strength of others. If you know that I'm good at finances and you need, okay, perfect example. I help people with their credit. I'm a credit repair specialist. If you know I'm good at that and I know how to do that, come to me. Don't go to the Tyrone from the bodega who's going to charge you $1,000 and he's not going to help you. But because you know me, you would rather break bread with a stranger who don't have your best interest at heart. When it's crazy to me. Be open to learning and adapting from your colleagues and your friends. Be open. You don't have to always agree.
Right.
A person doesn't always have to change your mindset. But you may hear something. I mean, I've learned a lot from you, Life School Podcast. I listen to you a lot. I watch you move.
See, I'm so humble
we're kind
that I do anything.
No, you're doing your thing out there, and when I get those emails and those texts, thank you for your message. Thank you for doing this. I've never really seen it in that way, in a man's perspective. That's why I love to have the men up here, because the best way to learn about a man is from a man.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a messenger. I just relay the information. And when that girl, and I saved it and I read it, when I feel like I don't feel like working on my YouTube channel or I'm tired, I always refer back to that text. No, I got to keep doing what I'm doing. If this person, I mean, it's inspiring. Work towards putting others' needs before your own. But I do have a disclaimer about that. Self-care is vital. Take care of yourself first before you try to help others, because that's not being selfish. It's self-preservation. A lot of people will call you selfish, but it's not. And this is the best analogy that I can give you. When you're in an airplane and the pressure goes low and they take the mask down, what's the first thing they tell you to do? Put it over your face first. And then the kids. I know you guys laugh when you hear me say this sometimes. Fuck them kids. Because you're no good to your kids if you're messed up. You're no good to your kids if you're not at peace. You're no good to your kids if you're stressed out, because them kids can pick up on that stress. Them kids can pick up on your emotions. They're not stupid. They just play stupid sometimes because they don't want to hurt our feelings, or they don't want to get you more angry. But you got to take time out for yourself. Even the men. We're so, like, when Positive Vibes says, I'm not signing up for that. That's an outlet for men, watching sports, hanging out with their boys. At least he's home, hanging out at the house. He's not at a sports bar, spending unnecessary money where now you have the opposite sex there. He's home, in his home that he pays rent or mortgage. Why would you not want to? Why wouldn't you? You would expect it from him. If you had all your aunties and your best friends at the house, you would expect him to fire up the grill and put things on the grill. Anyway, let's keep going. Be a good listener and ensure others feel heard and understood. Again, it's not just about us listening to respond. I need to really understand. You know, one tactic that I've learned to do, and I took it from my professional life, I recap with a person, especially if I don't understand what they're trying to relay to me. I'll be like, ready. So in other words, you're telling me that what I did last night made you feel uncomfortable and you didn't like it because woo, 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 woo. And if you say yes, then I interpreted what you was able to tell me. Some people don't do that. They just take it and run with it. And they're running like Forrest Gump. That's not, I've learned texts are not good. When you're having a serious conversation and you feel that it's getting to a level in the red zone, it's time to stop texting and pick up the phone and call them, because now there's an unnecessary argument happening over misinterpretation.
You should never have a conversation.
And it's important. It's important.
Never have a text conversation. No. Only where you at? That's it. Where you at? That's it. That's it.
I learned that, especially with the children's father. And I was like,
I've been through that. I was a big time texter.
it got to the point where I was like, let's talk on the phone. I didn't want to talk on the phone because, I was still feeling some type of way because of stuff he didn't do, you know what I'm saying? But I had to get over that because to have that effective communication, so as we're on the same page of things, I needed to hear the tone,
Sing a
the
song.
inflection, all those things that you can say, oh, okay, he's not saying that, but I thought he was saying all caps, but they said that's yelling and stuff. So
We just like cats. We just like all caps. I'm sorry. We just like caps.
I like
They're like, you yelling at me? No, I like caps.
I write in all caps.
I remember one of my I, I remember one of my homeboys. I was sitting there complaining about my ex-husband, and he turned around and looked at me and said, "Can we talk about the things that he is doing? Because all I'm hearing you is talk shit about the things that he's not doing." I'm like, okay, or another shot, and I'll give you what he. So you see how quick, what a pivot that we always write on the things we don't have, on the things a person is not doing for us, on the things that we wish we had, but we don't take the time to be grateful for the things that we do have. So I had to sit there and be like, well, what is he doing?
Right.
Okay, covering the health insurance. You know what I'm saying? He takes him on the weekends, and it changed my whole mindset. And it also taught me not to badmouth my ex to other people, because that makes me look stupid. I mean, these are things that I had to learn myself. So I don't want people to think that I know everything. I know it now because I went through it. And if I can avoid somebody going through something or lessen the blow, then my job is done here. That's it. I had a guy, I was talking to a guy, and when he heard me badmouth my baby daddy, he read me my rights, hung up on me, and then blocked me. He was like, the fact that you can sit here and badmouth your ex-husband shows me that you are a low caliber woman because you chose that. And I was blown away. I was like, who does he think he is? But you know what? He checked me respectfully. And I have to, I owe it to him because that's a lesson that needed to be learned. And now I'm just trying to relay that message. Don't bad, because you really are the one that looked like stupid. Because people will be like, well, you laid with him. You not only 1 kid, 2 kids, but you made 3 kids with him. So he must have not been that bad. You see what I'm saying? Braxton said there's a time and place for anything. Right. And being grown doesn't mean you can just do whatever. Shaking my head. No, there's new sets of do's and don'ts in grown folks' world. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I know that we've been talking about humbleness all night tonight, how we need to be more humble, how to spot a humble person. But really the main thing is we need to be humble for one main purpose. And I'm going to put it out there. How does God want us to be humble? By becoming obedient. To humble oneself is to acknowledge God as Lord, and that to obey as a servant in order to do so. The Son had to take the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men. That's Philippians 2:7. So even Jesus had to be humble to his own Father. So what would make us think that we shouldn't be humble? That we can't be humble to each other, to ourselves, to our children? There have been times where I had to be humble and apologize to my son. Because even though they're little people, like you said, little men, we still have to respect the fact that they're little people and they have feelings and take them. My therapist made me apologize to my son for something that I did to him. You're going to go right back to your house and you're going to apologize to your son. And you have to show him that you're not perfect either and that you make mistakes as well. I've gone through all this, guys, and I've had to embrace my lessons, and I have the war wounds and the heartbreaks. But you know what? I'm still here. I'm still here. But the main thing that we need to be for is for God. And the way we be humble for God is by being obedient. The same thing, if we're married, we need to be obedient to our husbands. The kids need to be obedient to their mother. I mean, it's a domino effect. It makes sense. The children belong to the women belong to the men, and the men belong to God. Period.
Well, Embrace.
But we're too
Okay.
busy trying to take over the man's role.
Hold on now, Embrace. You gotta back that up, because a lot of men, they ain't going to church like they used to be. So therefore,
yeah,
I don't see a lot of them submit unto God. Now I'm like, man, I want to find. I said, this dude got some swag, but man, he ain't submitted to God. Man, this sucks. Because at least if he knew how to submit and follow his ordinances, he knows how he's supposed to treat his wife, family, and move about in life as a man, right? But a lot of I find that there's some men that aren't in the church, you know, so it's harder to see that they may believe, but still believing there is a level of submission where you have to not just hear but be a doer. Understand?
Does he speak? Does he speak? Church is when two or more speak or say his name. When you speak of God, this is church. Church is not a building. That building, I have so many holes in it. I don't even want to start. But people don't even open up the book to realize that you're not even supposed to be dedicating like crosses and all that stuff. All that stuff they told you that that's why I be saying people ain't read. You check the man's ways. You'll see if a godly man by checking his ways, not what he say. See what he does. And then you'll be able to tell if that man's a godly person, because everybody in church is backbiters, fruity tooties, fresh and fruities, all that. Everything in church is I went to church one time, and I seen some and heard some of the most. I was like, y'all really do this while the dude preaching? Like, it's crazy. So I'm like, so it'd be a lot of heathens in that so-called building that they call church. And it makes no sense. But you check the man's movements, you check his actions, check his ways, check to see if he's clean on the inside and out. You can see it, you can smell it, you can sense it. God will show you things, but we will say, nah, that can't be true. We literally do that. Nah. He will show us, but we're the ones that keep saying, nah.
We will ignore the red flags.
No, the word is supposed to be what you cater to. Church is not supposed to cater to nobody. Church is supposed to cater to empowering you, feeding you the word, having fellowship. That's what it's supposed to cater to. Not to make you feel good, because sometimes words do cut. Sometimes words are rebuke. It's not being catered to. I'm sorry. Somebody told you that's not what it's about.
Not making y'all feel good. It's supposed to make you do good.
Well, bro,
you're like, nah, my feelings.
And doing that, you're gonna be judged. You know what I'm saying? So we always get onto God is love, but God is a God of judgment as well. So let's not.
Yes, indeed.
A lot of other people, they don't preach that. So that's what's the problem is. We have the gimmicks and things so that nobody's really being fed. Therefore, you're going that one time and it's like, it's not hitting because the people aren't following as they should. And that's where the power is. In the obedience, as you said, Grace. But it's a narrow road. It is hard. And people don't want to embrace the humbleness of being a servant, because it is truly a role of servanthood.
That's why he's going to thin out the herd. He's thinning out the herd now. That's what we can see.
He said he's going to separate. It's not up to you to separate. It's not up, and it's not up to be like, I'm gonna judge the whole church. No, it's up to you to stay on your path in your relationship with God, because you're gonna have to give an account for your life, not for Embrace, not for Ready. But I don't care. Y'all do what y'all want to do, but I'm gonna get the word. And if this is not the field, the flock that I need to be in, I need to find the flock where they're going God's way. And that's what we need to do. We're ready to run. We're ready to run out of. If you're ready to run out of a relationship with God, You're ready to run out of a relationship with a marriage. It's all, like you said, a domino effect. And then we're ready to run out of a relationship on our kids, and we don't show up for them. And we don't plant foundations for them. So this is very important. And I've seen it. And so sometimes I sit back and I be on these panels, but I really love God. I'm really an advocate. I want it to be the right way. But sometimes people, they don't want to hear it because they want to flip it and bend it and say they have their own self-righteousness. That's what it said. Self-righteousness. And that's what we see a lot. And it's just messing up everything. So that's what we get. But we're craving foundation. We're craving things to be right, but we won't humble ourselves enough to submit to true instruction because it doesn't feel good all the time.
And he doesn't. He's not saying sweet things to me and all that stuff. No, not when we doing wrong. I noticed this, and I keep it like this. I noticed this. If they're not following the Most High, they're not following God, they choosing death. They're wicked. I don't care. No one says. I've seen it. I've been there. So once you recognize that stuff, it's for you to be like, you know what? I'm gonna step over here, because if they have a problem, like I said, talking about God in any situation, you have a problem with at any time, then that section or them people, I shouldn't be around. That workplace, I shouldn't be around. That basketball court, I shouldn't be on it. That stage, I shouldn't be near it. If I can't speak about the Most High at any time, that woman, I shouldn't be around. If she goes, oh, here you go with this God stuff again. I'm like, whoa, heathen. Whoa, heathen. Like, okay, I got you. So the one that created everything, the one that created even you, that's like a slap in the face. But that be the same person demanding respect from you. Demanding respect because I brought you this or I did that. But you ain't giving the one that created everything the respect and the dues and the worship and the praise. That's crazy. But they want to be worshipped as God or goddesses. It's crazy. So I try to stay far away from these type of people. Far away. You read, the more you read, the more you get to see. The more you read, the more after you pick your head up from that book, you'll start to see, okay, all right. Oh, that's what they do. Oh, that's what okay. That's what they call it. That's your what they said. That's your knowledge amongst the people. Once the more you read, the more you see the evil and the good and what you should and shouldn't do. And it's on us to choose right from wrong. It's on us to be the judge of ourselves.
Well, the Bible says it's basic. The Bible is basic instructions before leaving earth. That's it. Everything you need to know about living the life and how you're going to get to heaven is in that one book. Period. And to answer your question, I think men have been chased out of the church. We don't shame enough. We put the single mother with 5 kids with 5 baby daddies in the front pew. We don't shame anymore. We don't push for marriage. We don't do the things to bring the men in. And that all started, in the 60s and 70s, and the church got a hold of it. We don't invite enough men to our churches anymore. They get turned off. They don't want to, the women there are dressed sometimes like they go into a club. It's like what's happening right now? Yeah, God said, "Come as you are," but come on now. There's just a way of doing things, but that's a whole nother topic. So we are winding down. You're on mute. I can't hear you. Okay. You're on mute.
I said we can go deep on that all day long. I've been to church a long
I know. I know.
But I got a big heart because
and you're right.
I'm not here to condemn you. I'm here to relay the words that you're supposed to be reading. But if you don't know, that's not for me to condemn you. You just may not have a mind of understanding. But even if I do bring you to an understanding, it's still up to you if you receive it or not. Because God ain't going to bend your arm. I'm not going to bend your arm.
Absolutely.
He still loves you. He's the one that gave his life for you.
You are.
So that's just what it is. And it lends to what
you have to feel.
Like sometimes
No,
You
go ahead,
may
go ahead.
you may see good men out here. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, I want to come under the leadership of this guy while he seems so good, but he's not submitted to nothing. So, so who's gonna regulate him? You know, that I get afraid of that. I do. But
So,
is that something that you
Mm,
should embrace? It's
I hear
like
you.
I don't want to take it on and try to change somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't do it.
mm,
And I tried to like wait with some way
Hmm.
of I had before, and he was just like dressing up a pig and running back. But I love him, you know what I'm saying? But I just was trying to, elevate him, I guess. Well, do some Jada, what is that, Jada Pinkett? That wasn't working. But yeah, it's
once
No,
like
you
the
it's
the
see
new couple is Nelly and Ashante now. That's
so,
the new couple.
but
it, once you
it's so
see it,
hard because you see some really nice men out here. But I mean, from my experience, it's like I'm trying to live a submitted life. I would like the other person to already be doing that, like Mr. Reddy said, in some capacity where I could see the fruit, that you can like pray for me, or like, wow, this guy's being led. I feel secure in that spiritually, not just material things, because if they do perish and go away, we're still left to with each other. So like you said, that one room,
hmm
super simplified, but at least we still have each other. You know, so
correct,
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's tough
correct.
out here. Tough out here.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's why we're gonna have to go
Right.
through trials and tribulations. You're gonna have to suffer. You're gonna have to do this stuff. Then once you start seeing, okay, he's not a God fearing man. Then wipe all that other stuff out your head. Just put your head down and do what you're supposed to do as a woman. Do you put your head down and do what you're supposed to do as a man? And let the Most High handle that. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm not messing with no more skeezers and then
Mm-hmm.
getting complaining and upset because she's treating me like this, or I got to go to the clinic again. No, it's my fault. It's my fault. So if you see this man and he's not a God-fearing man, I don't care how cute or how sexy or whatever. No, no, brother, I'm good. I'm good. I'll just wait. Tend to my business, keep my mind and my spirit clean, and I'm good. Do what I'm gonna do. He see me. The Lord see me. The
I
Lord
hear
see
you.
me. I'm good.
It's true. I mean, like, oh,
And that's
you
all
know,
that matters. That's the
yeah,
main one.
the last relationship I had, I was like, I'm going out with the next guy. So he was Muslim, right? So they're extra strict. Oh God! But you know what? I was like, I really admire his walk. I was like, wow, this is how Christian guys are supposed to be. I like this. I said, I think I can make this work. But it was like what he said, a round peg going to a square peg hole. Like there were times where we butted head, and it wasn't on other things. It was spiritual things, because he's passionate about his God and I'm passionate about my God. And often a woman, we assume the role of submission, or we come underneath the man. So it was hard because I respected him in conversation, but he felt that he could say anything he wanted in regards to my beliefs, and not have any consideration about that. And that, that was like a dart. It was a dart. And I was like, can I make this work? Can I tolerate it? I said, because
No, he wasn't humble.
he was a good man, but that was the point. It was like I was trying to glue it all together, and it really wasn't
You were
sticking
trying
like
to
that.
provide.
You know what I'm saying? It was off balance. And it had to take the voice of God to say, and he literally said his name. And I know a lot of people may hear from God, they may not, and he speaks to people different ways. But he said, James is not your husband. Now, he had to literally tell me that, because he knew that my crazy behind was going to marry that man, because just for the sake of being a good man, but not for the sake of lining up with
That's right.
our man.
But think about it.
He,
Think about it. Think about it. How can two walk together if they don't agree?
Right.
This man now, if that's
unequally
your God,
yoked.
Mm-hmm.
That's your creator. I'm not switching up my God for no one. My God is the true and living. So why would I go into something that I know is not for me? So now you're disrespected. That's like calling another man in front of your daddy, daddy. Say no, he's my daddy. So think about God looking at you. He's a jealous God. So he's looking at you like, this man said he's a Muslim. He already chose the fake God. Okay, cool. And you still, because you're going to respect that man over your higher power, and you expect me to bless this union? Exactly. Are we tripping? But no, I'm going to fix it. So you're going to play my role? You're going to play God's role? It's crazy.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to take accountability. I was tripping because Stephanie wanted what Stephanie wanted. That's what Stephanie wanted. That's not what
he wanted. And
he
may have been a good man, but he wasn't the good man for you. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. And I mean, like I said,
exactly. You guys, it sounds like you were unequally yoked, and that it even talks about that in the Bible about being unequally yoked.
We got along.
I'm glad he taught you, because I would have you to make that mistake.
But that sometimes God may be calling us in part of our destinies, and the people that we're attached to can prohibit that, can change that, can delay that. And in hindsight, when I told my dad, because I wanted my dad to start to bring, he was like, it ain't gonna work. So he even said it ain't gonna work. So I'm like, oh, whatever, Dad, brush that off. And then it took God to say, the name James is not your husband. And even I was trying to brush that off, but eventually homeboy broke up with me. And when I look back, he told me that's not what's going to be. So I had to accept that and go back and do the work and say, that's what Reddy said. You going to call another daddy? Okay, I'm going to show you. Now you're going to be messed up again. You got to wait. Now you got to wait a little bit longer. Now you got to, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's good. Obedience is better than sacrifice. All the time. Every time.
Absolutely.
So that was my lesson.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that being said, guys, I mean, as you can tell, this was a necessary topic and conversation. I'm sorry that we missed Smitty. I don't know, he was having major technical difficulties, but I'm going to go around the panel. I'll start ladies first. And thank you. It was so refreshing to have you here. I've been wanting you to come here, but we finally talked and we clicked, and I'm happy that you're here. But give me your final thoughts of this whole conversation, and what is your takeaway from tonight's show? Yes,
all,
you, honey.
Thank you, Grace, for having me on tonight. Sometimes
Absolutely.
in humbleness, we have to realize that we have to sit back, really analyze, not be in our feelings, and not come from a place of desperation or validation, but actually, sit back and learn. We haven't arrived. I haven't arrived. I'm just a person out here just trying to share my story and my experience and being humble about it and hoping to really turn that around, inspire somebody else not to do, save them from things that I've done. And I'm willing to be humble about that. I'm willing to learn. I'm open. I'm open to be humble enough to display my transparency, display my vulnerability, so that people can know that there are good people out here that aren't self-seeking and that are really trying to get a positive message to change in a world that we are always seeing is chaos everywhere. So in my humbleness, I'm hoping to give and share some hope out here.
And where can we find you?
Oh, sorry. My name is The Wife School Podcast. My name is Stephanie Thompson. And you can find me on Instagram. I post a lot there. It's The Wife School Podcast on IG, and also The Wife School Podcast on YouTube. So I'm slowly building, but please like, share, subscribe, or just peek through. Just give a gander, and I would appreciate that. But most importantly, thank you, Grace and Mr. Reddy and everybody else that was on the.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Reddy, it's always, I made sure to hit you up tonight. I said, I missed you last week. I'm going to get you this week. You saw I sent you everything. Thank you for coming. You always bring enlightenment to the show and value, and I appreciate you. So with that being said, what are your final thoughts and what's your takeaway from tonight's show?
You always catch me like what I need to hear. What you need to hear at the exact same time. Can't even tell you, but it's exactly what I needed.
Right.
What I take away from this is
be that way sometimes.
Humble yourself, but at the same token, also we got to get back to trusting our Lord, trusting trust His plan, not ours. I'm not here to fix nothing but my own self.
Yes.
I'm not here to strengthen. No, I'm here to fix me.
I hear you.
So I could at least be an assistant to someone else. Like I could assist now. I could assist. I can help out. You know what I mean? So it's like to humble yourself. Yeah, just humble yourself and to trust and be patient. Be patient. Do not jump the gun. Do not say, I've been waiting. Forget this. No. Just sit and wait. And now I know what patience means. It took me 3 baby mamas and 5 kids, but well, I know what patience is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can go crazy in your own head, but just why you got to get up out of there. He controls all this stuff. So everything, you got to remember this. Everything is out in this world from good and evil is His. So we even got to be careful when we're talking about evil, because we don't want to talk bad about the one who created evil. So we got to be like, okay, now what is this evil here for me to see? That's deep. Like you can't even talk bad about evil because why you let me see this, Lord? Why are you letting this happen to me? So I'm like, okay, so humble yourself and be patient. And always try to help someone. Always and make yourself available and make yourself
right.
Like you gotta make yourself work on you so you could be able to help. Put like that, work on you so you can be able to help someone. Because it's all about we our own reparation. People understand that it's not money, it's how you treat your people.
Yeah.
The children, His children. We all brothers and sisters, how we treat each other, that's your reparations. You don't need money if I can go over to Grace's house to eat every day. I don't need this if I can go over here and get my clothes sewn over here by the wife. You know what I mean? You don't need certain things if we all just start taking better care of each other. You know what I mean? Like just go back to that, just taking care because it's just the right thing to do. So humble yourselves and be patient and really trust in the Lord, and
you just made me think of my neighbor. She loves baking and she's trying to start a bakery, and I get to taste everything. I got me some little mini bagels. I got me some pumpkin biscotti. I'm like, yes, girl, bring it on. And when you get going, I'm gonna spotlight your business YouTube channel. So neighborly love. Don't you remember growing up where everybody took care of each other on the block? If you got an ass whipping from down the street, you get another one when you came home, and everybody helped each other. You don't have that sense of unity anymore, and it's sad. It's really sad. So with that being said, my final thoughts are, guys, is that being humble is vital. And it's important because having humility not only helps you develop a more kind approach to interacting with others, but it also influences how you perceive yourself and the world around you. Don't forget that there's 2 ways to being humble. You can either humble yourself or life will cause you to humble you. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. And with
Right.
that being said, guys, you can find me here, of course, every Thursday night on the JVJ Network and Embrace the Grace, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I am on Instagram, Facebook,
Mhm.
Snapchat, WhatsApp. I'm all over the place. And slowly but surely, I'm growing organically. I'm not buying subscribers.
Right.
So I'm only about 43 away from 500, so I can start
Good.
getting super chats. So it'll happen. I believe in my channel. I know that this is my purpose, and I'm not going anywhere. So
Right.
but thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you guys. I don't know what next week topic is gonna be. It's gotta hit me. Oh wait, it's Thanksgiving. I already thought of what are you thankful for? We're gonna talk about being thankful and why it's necessary to be. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving for the reason that everybody celebrates Thanksgiving. I don't do that. I do it for food, family, fun, and football, and being thankful for what we have. That
Right.
other mindset, I'm not down with. If you guys know what I'm talking about. Positive vibes. Oh, look at you. You didn't popped up again. Thank you for coming, Lena. And no matter, you always got good stuff to say, whether it's on one side of the spectrum or the other. We still appreciate it because you always prove a point. I'm thankful the Democrats won last night. Amen. What state are you in? I think a lot of them went across the state. Yup. But
Let's still
once
talk about
again, guys, thank you very much. God bless. And don't forget, be humble to yourself and to each other. Take care, guys.
all right.
Peace. Bye, beautiful. Bye, Ratty.